Now my focus will be on imperialism, which is a new concept of intellectual discourse. But I am going to compress the time as possible to be able to clarify in a very simple suggestion for you to understand what imperialism is all about. Imperialism is actually a new concept aside from colonialism, and it actually means an European influence to their own benefit. Some scholars maintain the belief that imperialism is just a new form of colonialism. Imperialism is actually a system in which the Europeans did not take direct control of the African countries or the weaker countries for their own gain. No. Imperialism is actually a system through which the Europeans exert their influence in order to take the control of the resources of the weaker countries for their own gain. In the case of Nigeria, we experience colonialism, where the Europeans made Nigerian her colony. When we say colony in history, we means a territory that was taken control by the Europeans. The political institutions, economic institutions, social institutions were all subjected under European control. And that is what we mean by colonialism. That is colony of Nigeria. While in imperialism, nothing like colonialism, nothing like taking a colony. No. In imperialism, the Europeans allow you to control the political institution, economic institution yourself, but they inject some influence through which they could be able to have their own personal interest. They allow you to rule your country, but they exert their influence for their own selfish interest. Let me just make it clear for you. Today, in Nigeria and most of the African countries, they said we are independence. We are given independence. We are given political independence, not economic independence. Why do I say so? We are now in what we mean by neo-colonialism, or we are now in what I may say it is imperialism. We are now in imperialism right away. Why? Because they established United Nations organization, which is UNO, through which they are exploiting the Nigerian people and other African countries, but through invisible means. Africans and Nigerians, politically, they are ruling. They conduct an. None of those countries make Chinese society a colony to them, but they allow the Chinese people to rule themselves. That was during the reign of the administration of someone called Chiang Kai-shek. It was then a leader of China, but he is under the control of the European government against its own citizens. So they exploit the people of China through their own indigenous leaders there. And that is to say, they experience imperialism and not colonialism. Am I making myself clear? So if you take a clear picture of colonialism as I explained so far in the first edition, and compare it with this one, I'll just give to you briefly, that of China, you can see there is a clear difference. In Nigeria, we take control of everything, political institution, economic institution, before we got independent in 1960. While in China, they allow the Chinese people to rule, but they inject some of their own. They incite war, conflict, demonstration in so many places in China, through which they appropriate their wealth, they consume, they accumulate. So much so that Chinese were described as sick man of Asia. If I trace back to the history of China, you hear this. Sick man of China. That is to say, those powerful European countries, they continue milking the resources of China to the extent that China was at the verge of collapsing. And that is why they were described historically as sick man of Asia. Thank you very much.